Today, in the present scenario of biotechnology, there are several branches in the science. They play a very significant role performing their role individually. So today we will talk about the biological science in form of the botany. What is the significant role of the botany in the biotechnology? As the name indicates, the plant sciences, as the means botany means plant science, it play a very significant role. That means if we talk about it, we highlight in the nature, there are the different biodiversity among the flora and the fauna. In our nature, region-wise, there is the whole distribution of the different types of the plants which exist in the nature, and they play very significant role in controlling the whole nature by means of the balancing of the ecosystem, balancing of the whole biodiversity, and balancing all of the universe in the form of plantation. So plants plays a very significant role in the biology. So today we will talk about the role of plant science in the biotechnology. As the first slide indicates, this is the classification of the plants in form algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperm. So these are the branches of in form of algae, that means study of algal cells. It is called the science of bryophytes and ecology. And when we talk about the bryophytes, that means in the bryophytes we study about the enhanced forms of like the moss, forms, etc. But meanwhile, these are the pteridophytes. They have some complex structure plants. That means the symmetry of this type of plants is slightly different. If we compare all the other plants in form of thalophytes, thallus-like structure, because these category of the plants they contain the thallus-like structure. Like the gymnosperm, angiosperm, these are the part that constitute the higher plants. They are classified in the form of higher plants because they perform a very significant role in balancing of the ecosystem. Likewise, as the algae, that is the very important and the prominent part of the nature. This exists in the form of the small plants. And the most peculiar qualities in such type of the category of the community, that means they have the chlorophyll being simple haloid body. The plant is not distributed between the complex root, stem and the leaf. They have the simple chlorophyll bearing simple haloid, and the most importantly they are all the autotrophic organisms, and they have largely aquatic organisms, that means that the whole community existing in the water. Secondly, when I talk about the measurements of the category form of occurrence in form of the average range, the size range from the microscopic unicellular form, and this is a very excellent common example when we talk about the small plants. That means small plant is a very excellent form of Palaemonas. To colonial form, volvox is the instance of such category, and to the filamentous form, that is the excellent example of lunothecs and spirogyra. Likewise, the other category is form exists in the nature, that means in form of some form of rhodophycetemra also exists in the nature, in which there is a significant role in the laboratory. It is a very common chemical that is extracted from agar, that is extracted from the grassy and other species of such type of plants. Whenever we talk about the multiplication, the algae reproduce by, this is a very common example of their reproduction. The algae reproduce by vegetative form, asexual form and sexual form. And vegetative reproduction is very common. This is a very common instance of fragmentation. Likewise, asexual reproduction is by the production of different types of spores, juice spores and some other spores, capital spores and other forms. Because this is the two category of very important such type of the plant community. One is the vegetative form, one is the sporation form. Vegetative forms and the sporation form, it completes its life cycles into two phases, vegetative phase and sporation stage. And next is sexual reproduction takes place with the fusion of the two gametes. classified about the plants of the phycology. This is a very common class of the animal cells, that is chlorophycin, phyophycin, rhodophycin. And when we talk about the chlorophycin, this is the common category of this green plants. This exists in form of the green algae. They have the chlorophyll A and B, and the most popular characteristics of such type of the plants, they have the most of the members and one or more storage bodies called pyrenoids, which is located in the chloroplast, and algae store food in the form of oil droplets. And when we talk about reproduction, there is simply vegetable reproduction occurs, usually takes place by fragmentation. And likewise, the asexual reproduction is by flagellated juice spores produced in the juice spore. These are the bodies which covers juice spores, and whenever the unfavorable conditions, that means favorable condition is very important for the germination of the spores. That is the most important things about the when we talk about Vallabhbhai and some such type of the lower plants, higher plants, because this is the circumstance, this is the comfortable time, that means that any spore germinates and to germinate and born the new ones. Likewise, whenever we talk about the sexual reproduction, it shows considerable variations in the type of the formation of sex cells, and it may be isogamous, anisogamous, and oogamous. And these are the instances of the different category of the algal cells, which is the stomatomas, sporox, xenophages, spirogyra, and car. These are the diagram. They show some vegetative form. As you can observe things under the microscope, and it depends upon which type. First important things is very important to know now. That these are the cellular form, and it depends upon mostly you can observe such type of cells under the low microscope, low power of the microscope. These are the cells. They have the complex colony, and these are the parent colonies, and you can see they have the flagella and see cellular form. These are the different category of the algal cells which are shown in the hierarchical slide. Likewise, this is the other class of the algae members in form of phyophycin. This is the commonly known as the brown algae. And same wise, they have the chlorophyll A, C, as we talked about the chlorophycin. Same wise, they have the chlorophyll A, C, and most importantly, one distribution characteristic features, they have the very complex molecule in form of the carotenoids and the geniculars. And most important interesting things in such type of the category, they have food is stored as a complex carbohydrates, and which may be in form of mannitol and the laminate. This is the things which is very important for the plant. And the vegetative reproduction takes place by the commonly as occurs in the chlorophycin fragmentation process, in which such type of reproduction occurs. Likewise, asexual reproduction by biflagellate and juice spore that are pear-shaped and have two unequal laterally attached flagella. Sexual reproduction, likewise chlorophycin, they have the isogamous, anisogamous, oogamous. And these are the instances of the different forms of reality, and Rectocarpus, Dictyota, Laminaria, Sargassum, and Fucus are the common examples of such type of plants. These are the structure of different members of this class. Brown algae is the example of Laminaria, Fucus, and Dictyota. They have their frond, and frond plays a very significant role. All of the members of such category, they have the frond. Likewise, rhodophyceae, as I earlier also told, that they are the most important application of such type of the category to isolate the chemical agar-agar is very useful. Gracilaria is the most important instance of which the agar-agar is extracted, commonly known as red algae. And they have isotope as red algae because they have red pigment in form of phytoalexin, and the food is stored as fluoridine starch. Most of the difference between the other class of this one. They have the fluoridine starch, which is very similar to amylopectin and glycogen structure. And the red algae usually reproduce vegetatively and fragmentation. They reproduce asexually by non-mobile spores, and likewise the other members sexual reproduction is monogamous and accompanied by complex post-fertilization development. These are the instances of different forms: Polycythemia, Porphyra, Gracilina and Geranium. These are the instances in which agar-agar is extracted. Gracilina and Geranium. These are the comparative examples of different forms of biodiversity. These are the diagram of Amanda, Selenium, Gracilina, and Champion. And when you compare the small plants, the higher plants, these are the again example in form of bryophytes, because I also covered earlier that if they have a charismatic structure, plant body is not differentiated between the root, stem and the leaf. They have a simple thyroid structure, and particularly one important thing, they survive in a very complex category. They have a fixed temperature, and soil fertility is very important. They can live in the soil, but they are dependent on water for sexual reproduction. This is very important. This is a very peculiar characteristics of such category of plants, that they are dependent on water for the sexual reproduction. It is thallus-like and prostrate, erect, and attached to the substrate by unicellular or multicellular rhizoids. And they don't have true roots, stem or leaves, and it produces gametes. So that's why this is called the gametophytes. And the one common thing whenever you compare the higher plants and the lower plants, because whole body is complete covered by the two phase, gametophytic and the sporophytic generation. They have the gametophytic generation and the sporophytic generation. That means the life cycle of such plants completes its life cycle in the two forms, gametophytes and the sporophyte. Half of the generation is completely called the gametophytic generation, and the half portion is called the sporophytic generation. Most importantly, characteristics of such category of plants, the male sex organ is called albumin, and they produce biflagellate and iridoids. And the female sex organ plant archegone is a flask-shaped structure and produces a single egg. And the iridoids are released into water where they come in contact with archegone. And zygote produces a multicellular part, the sporophyte. As I already told about the sporophyte and the gametophyte is most importantly the factor that is responsible for the survival of such category in the limited area and the limited time. Some cells of the sporophyte undergo reduction in meiosis to produce haploid spores, and these spores germinate to produce gametophyte. And other category of bryophytes occurs in two forms, in the liverworts and mosses, according to the occurrence of habitat to habitat. Because for the survival of such category of the plants, habitat is most important factors. Because whenever the generation, the reproduction, it dependent on the fertility, temperature, humidity, and particularly the different biotic and the abiotic factors play a significant role for the survival of such category of the plant in the nature. This is the very important forms. Liverworts and the mosses. Liverworts grow usually in moist, shady habitats as banks of streams, marshes ground, damp soil, bark of trees, and deep in the roots. These are the habitats of such category of plants. And the most importantly interesting things about such category of the plants, the plant body of liverworts is thalloid, and asexual reproduction in liverworts takes place by the fragmentation of thalli or by the formation of specialized structure called the gamete. The gamete become detached from the parent body at favorable condition. Whenever the condition is favorable, only that gamete will be detached from the parent body. If the condition is not favorable, it will not detach. That's important. And it become detached from the parent body and germinate to form living molecules. During sexual reproduction, sporophyte is differentiated into full seed and the capsule. That is very important thing. The three division of the sporophyte is very important. It will differentiate again these conditions of life of such type of material. That means in the favorable, the condition will be favorable. Sporophyte is differentiated into the fruit, seta and the capsule. After meiosis, spores are produced within the capsule, and these spores germinate to form free living gametophytes. Rixia and the Markensia is the most important instance of such category of the plants. Rixia and Markensia. These are the diagrammatic representation. These are the structure of female hairs of Markensia, and this is the male hairs of Markensia. This is the gametophyte I already mentioned. This form of flask-shaped structure. They have ankylophore in the male hairs of the Markensia. Meanwhile, when you compare the male hairs to the female hairs, they have the archigoniophore, in which is the gametophyte is detached. So whenever you compare, when you talk about likewise mosses properly in a stage and develops directly from a spore. It's a green and frequently filamentous stage. This is the most common difference between the moss and the leaf. And secondly, a leafy stage develops from the secondary property as a lateral bud, consists of upright, slender, axis-bearing, spirally arranged leaves. That means they have spirally arranged leaves. This is another characteristic feature and distinguishes whenever we compare between the moss and the leaf. And this stage we have the sex organs. And secondly, vegetative reproduction in mosses is by fragmentation, and budding in the secondary property. Likewise, the sex organs, Lydia and archegonium are produced, and the apex of leaf shoots. And this is the most commonly zygote developed in all categories of the plants. And zygote develops into the sporophyte, consisting of a fruit, seta, and the capsule. Because this is zygote is the such body that which occurs all categories of the plants. Whenever the male and the female fuses, and this is the complete dignified structure by the fusion of the male gametes and the female gametes. The spores are formed after meiosis, and these are the instances, different instances, examples of Funaria, Polytrichum, Speculum are the different categories of mosses. And this is the diagram structure of the Funaria Speculum. This is the most commonly plants which occurs in form of haloid body, particularly when we talk about the sporophytes, the speculum and the Funaria. They have, as I already mentioned, the fruit bodies, capsule, seta, and these are the leaves, and this is the main axis, and these are the rhizoids. That means plant is not true roots are absent in such category of plants. The plant bodies are in form of rhizoids, haloid, and they have the rhizoids. What are the true roots? True roots, these are the substitutes of the true roots. They don't have the true roots. The rhizoids are formed. Likewise, speculum, they have the gametophyte structure, they have the complex structure in very different form. Cone shape, they have a capsule. Likewise, pteridophytes, these are the some slightly complex structure in form of haloid when we are talking about the pteridophytes. Main plant body is sporophyte, which is differently true roots. They have the true roots. This is the most distinguishing character between the bryophytes and the pteridophytes. They have the true roots, the stems and the leaves. But meanwhile, when we talk about the bryophyte, they don't have the true roots. Possess well differentiated vesicular tissues. They have, and the sporophyte bear sporangia that are separated by leaf, by appendages or sporophytes. This is the one again different structure. This is the very commonly most distinguishing characters between the bryophytes and the pteridophyte. They have the sporophytes. Meanwhile, in the sporophyte, they don't have the sporophytes. And sporophytes may form distinct compact structure by strongly or cones. And sporangia produces spores by meiosis in the spore mother cell. And the spores germinate to give rise to the gametophytes called the prokaryotes. And gametophytes bear male and the female sex organs. This is the common criteria when we talk about bryophytes and pteridophytes. These I will not go through details of such category of the plant. These are the instances: Serotum, Selaginella, Lycopodium, Equisetum, Dactylis, Steris, Agentum. These are the examples of such category of plants. This is the structure. And they have the main category when we talk about the higher plants, because I already mentioned on the category of the habitat, occurrence, physiological structure, biotic factors, abiotic factors, the nutrition, main uptake of the water and different contents. There are the different biotic and the abiotic factors. That means, so that's why gymnosperm and angiosperms make the complex category of the plant species, right? So that's why the gymnosperm and the angiosperm are the part of the complex structure. So that's why they are the category of the higher plants. What are the particular characteristics? What are the specialized structure they have? Why so called complex structure? This question arises. This is the example and this is the answer of this question, because gymnosperm include medium-sized trees of tall trees. They most commonly shrubs and the trees are the category of such plants. And most importantly, first thing, the roots are generally taproots. Roots in some genera have fungal association in form of mycorrhizal association. That means with the plant of the Pinus, they constitute the mycorrhizal association. They have the one peculiar characteristic of such category of plants. And in some other cycles and small specialized roots, coronoid roots are special type of the structure they have. And the coronoid roots are associated with the nitrogen fixing cyanobacteria. One very different and very important things in our when we talk about the gymnosperms. And the stems are unbranched. This is the example of cycles. And unbranched in the Pinus and the Citrus. And you can see there are different types of the Pinus plant in our campus. They are very beautifully arranged in our campus, because such type of plants are very costly. And this such plant have been mainly implemented in the areas of the different hill areas and such moist content, where the most contents are higher when we are talking about the gymnosperm. And likewise, this is the leaves may be spherical compound, and the gymnosperm are heterosporous. They produce haploid microspores and the macrospores. Which you can see beautifully, they have the leaves are arranged in form. This is the example of the cycas. Commonly you can see where any function is going on, the plants have been capped with cycas and the Pinus. The male or female ponds normally may be born on the same or different trees. The example of the Pinus. If it is present on the different trees, this is example of cycas. If the stolid is on the same plant, this is the example of the Pinus. Stolid bearing microsporophytes and microangia. Microsporangia called the microsporangia or male stolid. Like us, pollen grain is released from the microsporangia and they are carried in air currents and come in contact. Likewise, the process goes on in the angiospermic plant. These are the most common examples which occurs in the gymnosperm and the angiosperm. And finally, the foveal fertilization zygote develop into an embryo and the ovules make the seeds. The seeds are not covered. This is the one important piece of the gymnosperm. And this is the gymnosperm life cycle. I already told you that it completes life cycle between the sporophytic generation and the derivative generation. And you can see here, this is the developing sporophyte. This is the plant, and the water bearing meiosis, then mitosis, then pollination. Then it gives rise to its pollen grain, and again pollen grain to produce sperms, to seeds, and developing sporophytes again. So it is the life cycle story. It's all stages. So finally, lastly, angiosperms. Angiosperms is again in the very complex category. Whenever we talk about the higher plants, this is the most important commodity in form of the higher plants. The pollen grains in the angiosperms and the ovules are developing in specialized structure and the flowers. Flowers and seeds are enclosed by fruits, and they are divided into the two classes, dicotyledons and monocotyledons. Those who have the one cotyledon is called the monocotyledons, and they have the two cotyledons is called the dicotyledons. And the dicotyledons are characterized by having two cotyledons in their seeds, while the monocotyledons are formed once. As the name indicates, distinguishing features. In the angiosperm, the male sex organ flowers are stamen, and stamen consists of a cylinder filament with an anther at the tip, and anther following meiosis produced pollen grain. This is the anther filament. This is the structure. And the female sex organs in the flower is the pistil or the carpet, and pistil consists of an ovary and approximately 1 to many ovaries. It depends. Actually, sex organs, some category of the plant, the sex organs occurs in the same plant or the different plants. So it depends. The such categories called the hermaphrodites. There are some category of plants, the sex organs present in the same plants and the different plants. And the pollen grain release is dependent on the two categories. Within ovules are present highly reduced